I saw this and I wasn't too well. Originally, I was interested in what it was about because I thought, oh, really? Because I seen someone else share something or talk about this subject, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. First, I thought it was just a joke, but it's a real thing. So I clicked on it, and the only reason I'm talking about it is because the article is trash. It's just trash for a variable amount of reasons. And this is something that I do like to do. I like to find examples of why these media outlets are just terrible and why you just shouldn't bother with them anymore. Like, they're not worth the paper they're printed on. Obviously, this is online, and the Metro in its printed form is for free, but advertisers pay, and it's advertisers' money that I care about, and I deeply care about where they're putting it and spending it. I want advertisers to be spending their money more wisely, so I do care. But just reading through it was just made me think, what? Like, is this the best we have? Is this the best we got? Like, don't we deserve something better? That's what it made me feel. It's like we deserve better than this. We're not being treated with respect. Is the way I feel. Now, as you can see in the title, Mr. Well, should we just call him Yaxley Lennon, as everyone likes to do? Mr. Robinson, apparently seeking asylum, could do him the world of good. And obviously, I can see why there's irony in it all. I do not care about talking about him, and whether you're pro him or against him. I'm not interested in any of that right now. I'm interested in this as a piece of work, is what I'm interested in. Now, the first thing you see, obviously, is it's written by Salim Kassam, who's a community activist and co-founder of the MuslimVibe.com. So I think you know where he's coming from and what the whole angle of this is anyway. There's a picture of the man there looking perplexed. I guess is the best way to describe it. So, former English defence leader and failed MEP. So straight away, it's a smear. It's a smear thing, isn't it? It's like failed MEP. You don't have to put that in there, but you do if you want it to be of a certain narrative. Take failed MEP. This kind of language is what I'd expect to see in a worse newspaper. Well, this is just what you always expect. Like, you get this in the Mail or in the Guardian or wherever it is. It's like, they'll make a straight away. They don't like him, so this isn't going to be objective at all. Real name, Stephen Yaxley Lennon, has asked President Trump for political asylum. Most of will have viewed it as the latest Robinson political stunt, another attempt by the far right to play the victim, or just a desperate criminal trying to avoid a fourth jail term. Most of us, so straight away, most of us have viewed it as a political stunt, an attempt by the far right to play victim, or just a desperate criminal trying to avoid a fourth jail term. So already he's told me what I'm supposed to think, what the majority of people think. I don't know what the majority of people think, but apparently I do now, because he's just told me. Is that what the majority of the people think? I don't know. But he's put in my mind that that's what they do. So, good. Well done. But what if this is exactly the experience Robinson needs? He's built a career, got a little bit rich, and very, brackets, infamous from hating not only refugees and asylum seekers, but many of his fellow Brits of immigrant background, especially Muslims. Now, I don't know if this is substantiated, that he particularly hates refugees, particularly hates asylum seekers, and many of his fellow Brits of immigrant background, especially Muslims. As far as I've always known, it's just the Muslim thing he's had a problem with. I don't know. That's what happens when you live in Luton. It's a terrible place. Do you know I've never been there? Because I've heard the horror stories. I don't need to go to Kabul to know I don't want to go there, So this is just, how accurate is this? I don't know. Maybe if the Trump admin puts him in a border camp, separates him from his children and denies him his human rights, he will finally be able to emphasize with those he has demonized for so long. Okay. Robinson has never shown even the slightest compassion for many of those he trades in the hatred of. He has never recognized that, far from being a national security threat, the Muslims who he treats as enemy combatants are, so that's apparently a quote, by and large, on the receiving end of Islamophobia and racism they have done nothing to deserve. Well, yes. Well, the ones who don't deserve it, yes, of course. But I don't think it's particularly them a lot of people have the problem with. It's the ideas. And not just the ideas. It's the government, isn't it? It's government policy that drives this shit, isn't it, really? Always. But he's never admitted that the migrants, as he calls them, from Syria, Iraq and elsewhere, have the right to humanitarian protection. He hasn't acknowledged them as refugees and asylum seekers. Has he not? What did he say? What did he actually say? That's what I want to know. Because if this is true, this is the point. I want to know. And often you see with articles, it's like, they don't give any proper quotes. Like, these aren't proper quotes. Like, in brackets, enemy combatants. So where's the context of it? Well, what did he exactly say? Migrants, as he calls them. Well, isn't that what a lot of people call them? I mean, I don't know. One person's refugees, another person's migrant. I don't know. But he hasn't acknowledged them as refugees and asylum seekers. But where I need to see, when he said that, I need the exact quotation. Because the problem you have is that consistently, he and his supporters will point out things that have been taken out of context, convoluted, and just plain made up. And this does happen. But then you will see examples of stuff he has said and gone, well, that's a bit fruity. So it's like, I need to see it. If you want me on your side, show me what I need to see. But you haven't. It's possible that he truly feels persecuted and at risk, and that he feels the need to flee Britain. I would say that he is persecuted, in my personal opinion. I kind of examine how the establishment sort of works. Certain figureheads, they do try everything to sort of get rid of them. Not just people who are considered far right, but notorious criminals, also Muslim extremists of their own right. Many different types of people. If you get on the radar and you're considered a problem, they will do everything in their power to sort of get rid of you. I mean, they did it to the Krays, because the Krays are folk heroes, Ask people about the Krays. Same as the Richardsons, they have this aura about them, this cult status amongst their communities and further afield outside their communities. And considering what other criminals have done, the Krays were only done for like a couple of murders. They weren't held up on. They weren't prosecuted for like even 5% of the crimes they committed. Do you know what I'm saying? And the fact is, a lot of other people will serve a term in jail but be out before. If they do 25 years, they'll be out in 19 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Often. But the Krays were in jail for like 30 plus years. They both died pretty much in jail. It was only on compassionate grounds because they died of cancer that they were taken out of jail. And it pretty much was like, they're never getting out. It's like, well, when are they getting released? It's like, no, because they were just too big, too popular, caused too much of a stink. They were a problem. They always were a problem. And, the people that they used to cavort with, their connections to Tory MPs, there's all sorts of reasons. If they don't want you to be doing well, they'll fuck you. There's so many examples of this happening. His claim that his life is endangered by jihadi gangs in UK prisons would be closely examined by the Department of Homeland Security within the boundaries of their credible fear test. What's a credible fear test? I don't think you need to support the man or not support the man to work out that he probably shouldn't be near any Muslims in jail. Like, considering who he is, don't you think? They will be sure to note that he has safely survived 3 prior prison terms, the latest of which he emerged from looking healthy and toned and ready to launch a failed career in electoral politics. Again, he's a failure. Let's just remind everyone that's a failure. That doesn't mean your life isn't under threat because you didn't die. That's what a stupid thing to say. What about all the refugees that fled war-torn countries? They haven't died because they were lucky. So isn't it the same thing? It's like, just because you didn't die doesn't mean you weren't in danger. What sort of stupid logic is that? Well, he didn't die, so he couldn't have been in danger. Do you think the Department of Homeland Security gives a fuck about him? I sincerely doubt it, to be honest with you. That's my opinion. He's also likely to fail any test of good character in subsequent applications for permanent residency of citizenship, particularly since he has already been detained at the US border for trying to enter the country with someone else's passport. His own passport is in the name of Paul Harris, not his alias is Stephen Yaxley Lennon or Tommy Robinson, but it is normal for refugees to have complicated paperwork. Ooh, now you're just making jokes. It is ironic that Robinson has done so many of the things that immigrants are accused of, only without the excuse that he was fleeing a war zone. Alright, we're going under a different passport, but what was the circumstances? I heard differing things about why he did that, so you haven't really mentioned why. This hasn't stopped him whipping up anti-immigrant sentiments, the likes of which Britain hasn't seen in a generation. I don't think that's on him, to be honest with you. So it would be poetic justice if Robinson's journey ended in the conditions inflicted on many of those Muslim invaders on their arrival in Europe. Perhaps months or years spent in a border camp, aggressively shepherded by border guards, would give him time to reflect on what it's like to be born without a British passport and a smirking white face. Okay, brother. You can say what you like about Tommy Robinson. That's fine. You obviously are enemies of each other. This is your fight. Okay, this is a war between your religion and his perspective on it. Whereas us, everyone else, don't get me involved by talking about British passports and a smirking white face. I don't quite like what you're saying there. Okay, and I never have liked that kind of talk, ever. I've never been a big fan of racy talk. Never, on all sides. I've never approved of it. Ever since I was a kid, I understood it was naughty. So stop being naughty. Maybe he would emerge an expert on human rights law if his 3 children were taken from him and given 1 square foot of space in a cell, all for the crime of being the child of an asylum seeker. You're making big presumptions, and you're talking about this is all he is saying. Not everyone is put in those conditions. Where are you talking about as well? Do you know? Are you talking about America? Okay. He may even strike up correspondence with Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez, thanking her for describing his new home as a concentration camp and asking for help. Really? You bring in that shot. If you want to talk about attention-seeking charlatans, you could build a very good case against Tommy Robinson. But you could build a very good case against her, Cortez. Like, seriously? They're 2 of the same sort of people. Come on, man. Don't be fucking... Like, don't bring in as she the guiding light. She is shameless. I think Tommy Robinson owns it a little better because he's just got that sort of attitude, whereas Cortez is just... Well, mind you, she hasn't been in the game long enough to own it better, I suppose. You got to give her a chance to just be, totally at one with her charlatan ways. But shit, I put those 2 in the same fucking pot, in a way. I think that, come on, they're both overblown stuff. Say some crazy shit. Have die-hard support that won't hear nothing bad said against them. Really? The label white privilege is overused as a poor excuse for discussion and debate, but Robinson is a picture of it. Is he? He has used his position to become a global celebrity with a following of millions of angry young men. He's become Britain's best-funded politician, living in a 6-bedroom, £1 million mansion complete with hot tub. How do you know this stuff? You don't seem to have done any other research. Is he best funded politician? Like, who says? Like, again, who said? Where's the evidence? Like, you just say it as if I'm supposed to go, oh yeah, right. And this is what happens. This is why I'm using this as an example. Because I was like, this is trash. This is just trash. I want like, these. I know some of this is a bit tongue in cheek, but there is still facts being presented here. He has had a comfortable spot from which to observe the imminent collapse of the West as he hands, I think they're supposed to say hands off Islamo-fascist invaders in Facebook live videos. And it would certainly be a shock to suddenly be living on rations with fellow asylum seekers from Honduras and Paraguay. Yeah, but he has been in jail though, yeah? Or are you one of those people that thinks jails are real cushy? He has been. This is what I'm saying. Like, he has been in jail. Like, have you been in jail? I haven't been in jail, but I've heard it's not cool. Well, you do meet some nutters who love jail, but you know they're fucking crazy. And saying he's the picture of white privilege, it's a very bizarre thing to say. The right-wing US think tanks have bankrolled him with thousands in dark money. Okay, who's bankrolled him? Who are these think tanks? Who bankrolled them? And what is dark money? They will inevitably abandon him. How could they continue to support a migrant who is jeopardizing the territorial security of the United States of America? No, I don't think that'll be the point they'll take or the play they'll go with. Do you? You're absolutely crazy, because as soon as that happens, if it does happen, and they do keep bankrolling him and parade him around as a political refugee, you'll be going, oh, this is exactly what I thought would happen. Like, I know these. His support by shadowy, wealthy foreigners makes his conspiracy theories about global Muslim plans to replace Europe with Eurabia even more ironic. I don't know. I haven't heard that. Again, where is it? For years, Robertson has played the victim. Maybe it's time for him to try it out for real. Be careful though, Tommy. The internet is full of people who hate asylum seekers with a criminal past. And there he goes, just attacking the internet, as if every internet troll is responsible for this, that everyone on the internet with an opinion is a troll, and all this is just to make money, and all of this to do that. Although, you know, I'm pretty sure that Tommy Robinson is continuing this quest because maybe the money outweighs the bad. But then how many times are you going to have to go to jail and have your family threatened before you think, I don't know, is this worth it? Is it really worth it? How good is the hot tub that apparently you have? I don't know. But you can see all the talking points in here. It's just the same shit. And this is why these outlets are losing continuously. I mean, the Metro is fucking trash anyway, but like, still, people will share this sort of stuff and read this, and it's full of so much. There's just so little here, and just so much yapping based on nothing. And the problem is, if and I've said this before, if you don't want someone like Mr. Robinson to become the voice, the figurehead for the disenfranchised young men of Britain, or to be a champion of free speech, if you don't want him to be, then you need to come correct. But you don't, and no one does. They don't come correct. That's why he wins, because you're trash. Like, you're playing it all wrong, and it makes me so angry because I've seen this go on for so long, and it's just sickening. It's just like, look, if he truly is this threat and he truly needs to be, you know, put in his place, come correct. Do things properly. This is awful. Like this, I look at this, it makes me angry just because it's like, this is just, you know, it's just not good. It's not good enough. We deserve better than this. I put a challenge to it. Someone do an actual objective piece on the guy. Someone actually do it. Because all you get is the people that support him or the people that hate them. No one ever looks at it objectively. I think the only person who probably has tried to look at it objectively. Maybe I should do it. But do I want to spend that much time? Do I really want to spend that much time and go through everything? I mean, is it worth it? Is it? What am I going to achieve out of it? I don't know. But I would like someone else to do it. I'll give you a year. If it isn't done in a year, I'll bloody do it. Okay, I'll take spend a few weeks on it, I suppose, just to prove a point, I suppose, just to prove a point. But I would like someone just to do something objective and show me all the stuff that I should know, who doesn't care enough, who was on this side or that side, because I've never seen it. And it would be good to have the whole picture so everybody can see, so everybody, because it's just constantly being used as a pawn these days, the guy, you know, saying, someone please do better. And I will give you hugs and kissy poos all day.